Hello. I wanted to talk about two things that were just on my brain, which is relationships. Why did I choose to do this? Oh no. Well, now I've committed to it. Relationships and school, because they both exemplify two different things that I was thinking about this morning. And I just woke up. Why can't I have a break? Okay. So the first thing is um, relationships in schools, and more specifically, uh, normalization. Buh, buh, buh. And I want to call them externalities. That's not actually. I can't even spell it. No. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Um, so relationships and normalization. So I was thinking about attractiveness, and that attractiveness is actually a good starting point for a relationship. Because when somebody has something that is even naturally resonant to you, if they're just nice to be around, then that's going to be a good enough reason for you to spend time with them, especially if you both find each other attractive. But attractiveness is not a sustainable strategy, right? The same way that going out and drinking together can be a beginning point, right? Or if you have common other hobbies or any other reason that you would spend an extended period of time together, because it's basically acting as an initial charge, right? And the great thing about initial charges, um, because it is a constant, if you're like this person is hot, basically, um, that that is a thing that you enjoy being around. But it also normalizes over time that you're like, this thing is still good. Um, actually, it might be more valuable to describe it like this almost, where it's like it's moving up to where the peaks are. So this becomes your new normal, basically. I actually really like that. Um, and then if they become ugly, let's say, then it's going to have negative resonance, as opposed to if they were just always a more standard attractiveness or anything else. Um, Fascinating. Anyway, that you need an initial charge to basically invest the time and effort into creating a sustainable relationship, which is finding other other charges to basically keep the resonance going. Because whatever singular resonance you have, if it's just like, oh, we like talking about art with each other, unless you're constantly finding new art things to talk about, and that is a sufficient amount of communication. This isn't also just about like romantic relationships. This is all relationships. Is that it needs a continued force to overcome the energy spending resistance. So, if whatever you were doing together required zero energy or effort and you weren't trying to do other things, then you would lack the air resistance to continue the relationship. If you're just two people that are sitting in hospital beds next to each other and you're not spending any energy, then why wouldn't you talk? But like if you're trying to go and live your life and do all of these other things, then the cost of committing to that relationship is going to be higher. And so there's going to be more resistance and more resonance required to pay that cost. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, this makes me really happy. I think this is a much better visualization. Um, and then the other thing is externalities. Kind of. It's not the right term, I know, but basically, um, the things like schools and a lot of other things are built generally for the majority of the population, and we kind of know this is like school is made for this big chunk of people in the middle here. And the funny thing about any system, if you're like this is the average, this is how we're going to apply to the most people, because it is. That's where the majority of people are. Then you have these weird things here. There's I know there's a better term. I know how I could find it, but I'm just gonna commit to this. I'm I'm just gonna stay here. Anyway, this is, I don't know where to put them. I'm just gonna put them here. This is smart kids. So you have the high intelligence people, and then you have the dumb kids. But the funny thing about both of these terms is that they are relative. If you put all of the smart kids together, then they move to the center of the bell curve. This is what happens to smart kids in college, basically, or when they just outpace where the things are easy, because basically at the beginning you can rely on the resonance of your natural ability to comprehend things, where other people might need to start developing the intentional action and study practices and all of these other skills that school is kind of designed to teach you how to do. And if you, again, it's a normalization problem. If you normalize using your natural talent for intelligence, then you're going to fail, because as soon as you try to do that in a thing that's challenging for you, you will lack the ability to do so, and you will run away from that thing. I know from much experience that if you merely rely on your talent, then you're going to screw over your skill, right? Then we have dumb. And another category that goes in here that is not dumb is neurodivergence. Because this is basically the opposite problem. This system was not designed for you. It is designed for a general population. But these things get clumped together because when natural talent doesn't get you shit, you have to develop a lot of coping mechanisms and other systems to get yourself up to the baseline, right? So basically, on one end, you're basically pushing yourself up the curve through manual effort, not just in terms of education, but also in terms of socializing and fitting in and all of these other skills that are not necessarily natural to you because you're an edge case. And then the smart people basically just learn how to sit still. And so on one end, this person is climbing the wave and trying to ride it, and this person is sitting still until the wave comes to them. And then once it actually hits them, they have no idea how to surf because they were born on the right side of the curve. And the surfing happens like here, right? Holy shit! It's more water metaphors. I'm discovering in real time. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going on here. But that's kind of how skills and normalization work, and that's why neurodivergent people have a lot more manually built skills, even if they don't have good language for it. That I see them doing a lot of things a lot more intentionally. That masking is a very particular skill that they have developed, because it's not where the normal is. Like, if you have a bunch of neurodivergent people hanging out with each other, then it requires a lot less skill and masking because they're not trying to modulate to a normalized frequency of a larger population. Same thing with smart people. And so basically, all that to say is that I've been dealing with both sides of the bell curve simultaneously. How cool and silly of me. Anyway, that was normalization and externalities. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.